Grüß Gott and welcome. Let's go to the Oktoberfest. In this video, we're going to try to show you how to enjoy the Oktoberfest, how to get there, what you may want to wear, about the food, about the beer, and about some carnival rides. So grab a beer and sit back and relax, and we will tell you all about it, and we'll begin first with how to get there. Unless your hotel is very close to the Theresienwiese, your best bet is public transportation, and that would be the U-Bahn, the underground. As I said, the Oktoberfest grounds are called the Theresienwiese, and it's just south of the main train station, the Hauptbahnhof. You could walk from the train station if you wanted to, but after a couple liters of beer, walking back may be interesting. Here's a map of the underground system, and what we're looking for is Theresienwiese. You'll be looking for number 4, which goes to Westendstrasse, and number 5, which goes to Leimerplatz. The names of these two endpoints are important, and if you have to transfer trains, it will probably be at the Hauptbahnhof, which is the central hub. You can easily buy your tickets in any of the vending machines in the underground station, and then you need to make sure that you validate it before you get on the train itself. Remember I said the endpoint was important, and that's what you use to determine what track you were on, and you can also see how long it is till the next train. If you get on the train and see somebody dressed like this, you're probably going in the right direction. Well, here we are at the station, and there's extra security personnel during Oktoberfest, and you can see that there's just a few people that got off the train. Even the escalator going up is somewhat crowded. The entrance is but a few steps away, but it can be quite crowded, especially during security checks. There are other entrances around the fairgrounds if you want to walk to one of the other entrances. So, you are welcome to Oktoberfest by the symbol of the city, and that is the Munich monk. There are 3 main parts to the Wiesn which I will talk about. The first is the main drag where all the beer tents are. The second is the Carnival Rides, and the third is the Oide Wiesn. These are not permanent structures here, but they are actually constructed for the Oktoberfest alone, which doesn't begin in October. It actually begins mid-September and goes into early October. So let's go into the fest and take a look around, and one of the first things we see is this odd character sitting on the pole with a bow and arrow. And what it is pointers to the restrooms. Dort kann man, wenn man muss. You can go when you need to here. And also in Germany, the toilets are called the WC, the water closet. Let's head down the main road and check out the halls on either side, some with some very familiar names, and we'll have to decide where we want to go in. You should be aware there's more than just beer halls, and you can find things like champagne, sekt, S-E-K-T, and also wine and cheese, like this place. Well, let's get into it, shall we? Oktoberfest is all about the beer. Oh yeah, and some food, and some fun. But I'll talk about those a little bit later. Let's concentrate on the beer. There's only one kind of beer that you can get at Oktoberfest, and in only one size, and that's a liter. And don't even think about asking for something smaller. The beer is a lager, which was brewed under the Reinheitsgebot, a law from 1487 that specified the beer can only be brewed with hops, barley, yeast, and water. I want to diverge for a moment and talk about ordering beer. If I hold up my fingers like this, am I ordering 1 beer or 2 beers? Well, congratulations, you just ordered 2 beers. You see, in Germany, the single thumb is what represents the number 1 when you're counting with your fingers. So with 1 thumb up, you get 1 beer, which leaves the other hand free for bratwurst. Very well then, here's the two different ways to count on your fingers. German on the bottom, US on the top. Let's get back to the beer itself. Only 6 breweries are allowed to produce beer for Oktoberfest. Those breweries are Löwenbräu, Spaten, Hofbräu, Augustiner, Hacker Shore, and Paulaner. As you can see, the kegs are delivered in traditional manner, with beautiful horse teams, highly decorated wagons, and flowers all over. We'll show more about the beer when we go into the tents later, but now it's time to talk about some really, really incredible food, which is everywhere. Throughout the Oktoberfest grounds, there are outdoor food vendors, some of which cook the food in traditional fashion right on the spot. You can get about anything you want, including just regular sandwiches or even whole roasted chickens. Inside, you can get a variety of things, including the traditional German pretzel, Weisswurst, which shouldn't be eaten after noon, dumplings and pork knuckles, and of course, bratwurst and sauerkraut. The choices are endless, and of course, this isn't a good place at all to be on a diet. So what's next? What do you wear to Oktoberfest? Let's take a look at that. Here's just a random group of people walking up the main drag. What are they wearing? Well, you can see a lot of dirndl and lederhosen, which is the traditional Bavarian dress, and it's called Trachten. A dirndl is made up of an apron, a broad high-waisted skirt, a tight-fitting bodice with a low neckline, and a shirt worn underneath the bodice. Lederhosen means leather pants and was first used by peasants, and it was made out of deerskin. Of course, you pair it with traditional socks and shoes, top it off with a felt hat with hair from a chamois from the mountains. But you also may see some other interesting outfits on your way. Of course, there's no requirement for you to dress in Trachten, but you can find it in the city and also at vendors in the fairgrounds. It's time to have a little fun and visit some of the tents, and the first one we'll go to is probably the most famous, and that's the Hofbräu. You may be familiar with this tune, and pardon my singing. In München steht ein Hofbräuhaus, 1, 2, Sofa. And anyway, this is midday on a Wednesday, and you can see the crowds are huge. All of the beer halls have a bandstand in the center, but you need to be careful about where you sit. There are sections that are reserved, such as this one, which is reserved for Munich citizens, residents of Munich. Otherwise, you look at something like this, which is not reserved. It's available, so you can sit there. Just look for a table with seats free and just plop yourself down there and introduce yourself to your neighbors. You'll find that everybody is very, very friendly at Oktoberfest. There are some very whimsical decorations, including an angel watching over everybody in a beer house. What could be more heavenly than that? Also, you'll see on many of the beer houses these decorations, and they are actual real hops that are used to hang from the ceiling. In addition to the seated areas, there are also standing room areas which are typically not reserved if you feel like standing for a while. And again, notice how people are just interacting with each other, and most of them are strangers. If you want to get with the party, you can buy one of these crazy balloons, and as we look up at the ceiling, we see one that seems to have gotten away. Some of the tents, which are not name brand tents, are not crowded at all, and it's a good place to go if you want to relax. And even the band is pretty small here. Many of the tents, like this one, have what we would call side rooms under the eaves, so to speak, and generally you can find seats in there as well. But this is the Augustiner tent. It actually has an outside area you can use, but you will miss the band inside. Getting a little hungry? Well, this time we head into the Spatenbräu tent, where they have a roasted suckling pig twirling above the awning. So let's go in and see what they may have for lunch. Well, it doesn't look too crowded at all, so we go in and then find a seat right next to the bandstand and immediately strike up a conversation with the two other people sitting at the table with us. And he's actually wearing hops in his hat. And they're delightful people, and you'll just find this over and over again at Oktoberfest. And there's the band right next to us. The music is great, and we see huge trays of food go by, so we grab the menu and take a look at it. Well, the choice is too easy. We settle on sauerkraut and bratwurst with a cucumber salad. You'll find that many of the menus actually are also in English, or you can ask specifically for an English language menu. Let's pause for a minute and listen to this wonderful beer hall music. All right, one last try, and they're getting a beer delivery here. There's also a lion on top that teaches you how to pronounce Löwenbräu. Aha, this is more like it. The traditional band, lots and lots of people having fun, and even little kids get involved wearing their lederhosen. And no visit would be complete without hearing Ein Prosit at least once. Now, another interesting thing about this tent was it used not only music, traditional music, but a lot of classic hits, and see if you can recognize them as they play through. Well, everyone was having a good time, standing on the tables, drinking beer, and even with a few chicken hats. I tried to find one for myself, but couldn't quite find it. Well, that's enough beer for now, so it's time to go out and walk around a little bit, and we spy across the way the Bavaria statue. This Bavaria statue represents the Bavarian homeland and was commissioned by King Ludwig I, the Mad King Ludwig. There are stairs inside the monument, and you can actually climb up inside and look out at ground. You can see from this picture the scale by looking at the people standing at the base of the statue. Next to the statue is a place called the Oide Wiesn, which is a historic part of Oktoberfest, and they do charge an entrance fee to go in, like somewhere around €4, but the rides are much cheaper. And it also features a lot of traditional dancing and singing. It's a good place to go if the rest of the Oktoberfest is a little too crowded. All right, now it's time for a little fun, as if we haven't had any already, and it's off to the carnival. and I don't recommend doing this after having had 2 liters of beer. Well, the first thing I saw was this ride, and I thought, "Oh, maybe I could go on it." And then I thought about the beer, and I said, "Well, why the heck not? Let's go." We got the tickets, and up we went. And once up there, I got out my iPhone and got this beautiful panorama of the city, the Alps in the background, and everything as we were turning around. Then I decided I better put the phone away for the free fall. Then it was back to the carnival to try and find another ride that we could take. Looking around, we saw some interesting ones. No, not that one. Well, not that one. Nor I don't think we could settle for this one either, especially after having a beer. We could always do bumper cars, but that may be a little tame. And definitely not that. Imagine standing under that with people that are getting sick. Then I spied this fun house, but I have no idea what the guy's doing with the snake there. Hangover? No. But then there's the Ferris wheel. So that's where we headed. The view from the Ferris wheel was absolutely outstanding, and I do recommend this ride. If you don't take anything else, go on the Ferris wheel. This gives you a good look at the vast expanse and number of beer tents. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but there's a little church just outside the fairgrounds entrance called St. Peter's, and you can actually climb up to the tower, and this is the view you get, and at nighttime it is unbelievable. So after a very long and very fun day, we retired to our hotel in Englischer Garten, and you can still see the Oktoberfest from the balcony of our hotel. Unbelievable. Well, that does it for Oktoberfest, and I do hope you get a chance to go and enjoy it yourself. If you liked the video and wish to help us out, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Take care, all.